Pause at that. I'm just gonna check on it. Okay, so we are live. Okay. Hello everyone. Pretty much gonna just be talking, I guess. Welcome. This is the live stream of the Apple March event. We're gonna be seeing some really cool things today. Mainly specifically Apple in like classrooms. So we've seen reports of newer, cheaper iPads coming to the market around $200. So or $250, around that price. So it's gonna be good. I'm going to really quick do a shout out on Snapchat, come and check out the live stream. You know what it is. Sorry guys. Let's see. Apple March event. Okay, my story. Alright, we're good. We're good to go. Okay. So I'm gonna essentially let's see. So you're gonna probably hear some background noise, and that's because like I'm downstairs. This is usually not my setup. I usually don't have a red background, so I'm gonna try to move myself right there. I'm gonna get comfy. All right. Alright, cool. I was just checking if the audio was working. Okay, cool. Well, let's see. SE2 is delayed. Yes, it is. So yeah, what's gonna be rumored, or what I should say, people are not gonna be speculating that we're not gonna be seeing, is an SE2, and there might be an SE2 reveal, and in my honest opinion, I think we would get an SE2, because this whole event is pretty much going to be talking mainly about, cheaper products from Apple, mainly for the education scene or market. So I could see an SE2, it can be cheap. It's for college students looking for iPhones. So I could see that. And yeah, actually iOS 11.3, make sure you guys are like commenting like what you guys, because I'm looking at some of the comments right now. And so I can go and view on launch page. Just gonna yeah, thank you, Metin Solmez. I don't really know how to pronounce your name, but yeah, iOS 11.3 is out. I'm going to go and update that. And so, again, you'll hear some background. It's not showing up for me, as you can see right there. It's saying that I'm still on iOS, 11.2.6. So. Gonna do something really quickly. Audio. So, okay, cool. See if there's any more comments or anything of that sort. Oh. So yeah, so we're actually not getting a live broadcast from Apple. So we need to go to other sources. So we're gonna be watching it from CNET, and yeah, so yeah, we're just gonna wait. It's kind of very paradoxical, you're seeing their live stream and my live stream. Anyways, so yeah, so like I was saying, new SE2, possibly newer iPads. We might see newer iPads. Actually, interesting enough, there was a new report suggesting that we won't even see an iPad, and that was crazy. So we're gonna go to Mac Rumors right now. We're just gonna browse through some of their stuff while we're waiting. There's like 10 minutes left before the live stream. Sorry about that. So yeah, actually while we're here, let's buddy, come here. Hi, buddy. Anyways, it's my dog. Sorry about that. No, but let's go through some of the latest news, I guess, while we're waiting. Hey, come here. All right. So what I felt was interesting was not this either. Where is it? So Xiaomi Mix. So there was a new article from Mac Rumors saying, there we go, Foxconn pretty much acquired Belkin, and that's huge. Foxconn is one of Apple's biggest provider or supplier, and yeah, so This is big because Belkin also sells a lot of their accessories, such as wireless chargers, bands, whatever, you name it. They make it. So, yeah, so Foxconn acquired them for, it says, worth $866 million. Like, that's crazy. And they have also access, because Belkin also does routers, so they have access to the Linksys, Wemo, and Fin, and that puts chills around my back, because this is kind of me speculating, but with that acquisition, Apple could essentially get back into the router business, and you might be like going, oh, why now? They had like so many years, they haven't pretty much updated their airports or anything, but this acquisition could make it a lot easier for Apple and a lot cheaper for them to develop these routers, because it's, Foxconn's one of their suppliers, so they can easily, work out a deal. Bada bing, bada boom. Next thing you know it, your routers, we could see that. I'm not too sure. Is it likely? Probably not. But yeah. So let's go back to the news. We're just kind of gonna kill some time. Online store. Okay, it's down. Okay, like usual. So Xiaomi is pretty much copying Apple, as we see here, this new Mi Mix 2S smartphone. Yeah. That's interesting. At least it doesn't have the notch, right? Oh wait, never mind. Google P already has a software version of the notch, so they'll probably put it as a default or something like that. Anyways, I'm gonna check back on that software update. Still nothing on my end of things. Guys, if you have any like comments or suggestions that I should do right now, let me know. Any questions? Let's see. Gonna do a quick shout out. Okay, cool. We are good to go. So some other small things that it's, said to essentially be happening at this event. We can actually go to the March event. So we're just gonna go down this list. We already talked about new lower cost iPads. One thing that I forgot to mention was that there could be possible Apple Pencil support with these newer and lower cost iPads, which is big because, you know, that would essentially bring a lot more, you know, people in, especially artists who didn't really want to spend that like super high price just for Apple Pencil support, and on top of that they have to pay $100. So it kind of works in favor for both those artists and as well as college students, or even high schoolers, middle schoolers, whatever, who are interested in like drawing. Now, like I said before, there might be a chance we might not see it. Who knows? So yeah, so CNET's starting. We're just gonna put it like that. And I'm going to change this down a little bit so you can see pretty much the whole thing. Okay, so we're gonna go back. So yeah, so my thing is not working, so we're just gonna hear it through my speakers, so you can kind of hear mine and the computer's audio kind of simultaneously. Alright, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that really quickly. Thank you, Apple. I love that. I love this feature. You can just mute. We're gonna go back to what we were talking about. So we have lower cost, you know, MacBooks. Oh, this is a big one. So AirPower and AirPods wireless charging case are said to be going to be released. Now, I don't know. I think they won't really discuss it too much at this event, but they'll just like include it in their like other stuff that they release on the websites and stuff. So so yeah, and then of course revamped Apple Pencil. Really, you know, as it says, KGI Securities analyst Min-Chi Kuo, the famous Min-Chi Kuo, he says that Apple Pencil support is likely for the new low-cost iPad, but it's not clear if the newer Apple Pencils will be, you know, support. They'll add support for existing Apple Pencils. So, yeah, and for those of you that are just coming in, this is the March event 2018 from Apple, and we're gonna be, you know, essentially just having my live reaction of some of the things. You know, I've never really done this before, so we'll see how this goes. If you guys like it, make sure to like and then subscribe for more content. I'm going to be doing, after this, I'm going to be doing you know, coverage of the whole event in a small video, so make sure you guys go watch that. And yeah, so and if you came after Livestream, you know, make sure you turn on those bell notifications so you know when I'm live. because I do answer a lot of your questions, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna hey, calm down. Jesus Christ, you scared me. Now we're also said to see some new colors for the iPhone 10, which is pretty cool, blush gold. I don't know if there's gonna be any other ones, but we'll see. So yeah, so let's see. So iPhone SE2, we already kind of talked about. Apple already announced this, so they might just like say, hey, we have new bands, come buy them. Probably just breeze over it really quickly, and then of course that explains why it's not been released yet. They haven't talked about it yet, so they're probably going to talk about, like it says, the class kit framework, and then they're going to release probably iOS 11.3 to everyone, and then there might be some other things like Swift curriculums and stuff like that being released, which is awesome because I'm actually a developer, so I like to code in Swift. Many of you guys know that, who are my friends and go to school with me. So yeah, we might even see some new stuff within iCloud, mainly specifically things like Keynote, Pages, Numbers, because Google has essentially taken over many schools, especially this whole district that I'm in currently. We use only Google, and kind of sucks for someone who likes Apple. I'm kind of forced to use like Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Slides, just a bunch of Google services, Gmail. So it's kind of Apple's wake up call, like saying, hey, why is Google taking half of our shares? We should probably do something about that. Hence this event. So my speculation is that they're going to be releasing some iCloud things with Keynote, Pages, Numbers, the iCloud versions, kind of making them up to date, probably improving them, maybe adding a new interface to them, adding new features. I know for at least Keynote on the iCloud, the web version, it doesn't have speaker notes, and if it does, comment that down below on how to do it, because I couldn't find it when I was using it personally. But they'll probably add some things that are not available currently for those website versions. So that's probably some things that they might do. We might get some more iCloud Drive, some more cheaper alternatives, maybe some school plans, if you will, like Google Drive. Essentially, what Google has done is it's given unlimited storage to these schools, for all their students, of course, until they graduate. So that's good. And yeah, so they might start doing that. MacBooks, they might. I don't know. But Apple does say that they're going to be releasing a video, so I'll probably, if this isn't like a true live coverage, there you go. Okay.
Want to be a part of the conversation? Hop on Twitter and use the hashtag CNETLive. So, what do we think is going to happen today? Some hints may be given with the invitation logo.
Let's look at the logo.
Right? Bridget, what can you extract from that?
We have writing. Let's take a field trip.
Okay. So a lot of people are kind of speculating, essentially, with this logo that it's hand drawn. Of course, there's something going to be about the Apple Pencil, which I kind of doubt that too much, because there are sources saying that we might not even get an iPad at this event. So if that's the case, then okay, but I'll take whatever they can get. There's a reason why they're not live streaming this and keeping like a video of the broadcast. So So yeah, so let's go
With
back.
the regular inexpensive iPad, which starts at $329, but you can usually get for about $300. That's the 9.7-inch from last year, and it's really good. And if you're in school and using an iPad, that's probably the one you're using. iPads, and move to Chromebooks.
That's right.
Inexpensive laptops running Google's Chrome operating system, because they are, frankly, just less expensive than iPads, but more flexible in a lot of ways, because they're basically just web browsers. You can't install, the same games on them that you can on an iPad. They have very little, cost to keep updated, because they're essentially just cloud devices.
They're about like, what, $200 or so?
You could do 200, you could do 300, 400, 500, you could do a whole big range of prices. But the key thing is the school can just give everyone a Chromebook, and then whenever they want, just collect them, wipe them, hand them out again. It's really easy to do.
And it's all saved on the cloud, right?
It's interesting you bring that up. In 2017, a survey was done. Every 3 out of 5 tablets used in classrooms in America ran Chrome OS.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is actually like, that's how bad it is. Like, it's crazy that Google just like that took over the whole school scene. We used to see Apple. I mean, we still have some old iMacs, like the chunky ones, and that just shows like, oh my God, like how important it is to be selling in these schools, and Apple is trying to do that, and they can kind of leverage some of these schools, especially my school that focuses on like computer science, to get these computers, get these iPads, mainly specifically for coding purposes. I mean, Google right now, they don't offer coding services for their Chromebooks. They don't even have an IDE, so that's an integrated development platform essentially. So that's where you do your coding. So Apple, for example, has Xcode, and Google has Android Studio. Google doesn't have that, so Apple essentially has an advantage there. So if they can really sell some cheap iPads, some iPads that run Xcode, or a better version of Swift Playgrounds, or whatever, or some form in-class kit that does features with Xcode, I think they can definitely get a lot more presence in classrooms, especially ease of use, because right now iPads at my school are just used for mainly specific tasks, so like Swift Playground, stuff like that, not for everyday use like the Chromebooks, and so what's really interesting is actually yesterday in the evening time, there was actually a Chromebook release that it's first tablet that Google kind of made with the SUSE, I believe. And this is the first tablet running Chrome OS on it. So, and it was because of this Apple March event where, and they're selling it for like $329, and Apple can easily beat that by like lowering it down to like $250. It'd be kind of disappointing if it was like at $350. Like, come on, Apple, like you're losing profits from these schools. Why don't you just sell it to like for lower prices? And yeah, that's all I gotta say. We're gonna go back to what they're saying.
Extra cheap iPad. I don't know if they'll even bother doing that, but I'd be interested to see that, because I think when it comes to helping kids, just making it something super cheap, the accessibility, that will help them take that next leap. It'll help kids. It'll help hook the kids for when they're used to using Apple products more, when they want to be consumers later and go to college.
And I think we've exposed a little bit of the generation gap right here. You had eMacs in school. I had Apple IICs.
I don't think I had any Apple computers in my school.
Well, that's because Apple always made deals usually to get with the school could buy them for cheaper,
Yeah, of course.
and that was the mentality, get the kids used to Macs. But then we all had PCs at home, so there was a disconnect. Now kids are all having mobile devices, and so they are more used to using Apple products anyways.
And if you get them young, if they're used to using whether it's a MacBook MacBook Air or an iPad in school when they're, in grade school, in high school. Then
They're
they'll
very
graduate, go
lucky.
to college and want to get like a MacBook Pro or an Air or something like that, and then they're customers for life if you hook them young. So maybe we'll see an entire generation of Chrome OS users because these kids are using Chromebooks.
Oh,
And
no.
they go,
Oh,
that's
God.
what a computer is. And maybe everyone will just be, Chromebook people in 5 or 10 years.
We're all Chromebook people. Well, let's look at the live blog. If you want to follow along, also we have several CNET reporters there at the scene right now of the event. It's taking place in Chicago at a high school called Lane Technical Prep School. And
Why are there no kids in school today?
maybe they're just in a separate section of the school for this event.
I'm kind of serious. It's
Apple's
like
homeschooling them all today. They're sending Apple teachers to every student's
they're sending
house.
Genius Bar people to their homes to teach them stuff. Okay.
Well, I think it's interesting that they picked this school to kind of really first off, they're good at demonstrating, right, in a presentation, so they want to really make you feel like this is a realistic thing for a school. They are picking though a technical school, so obviously the kids are going to have a lot of access
Should have been my school.
to more tech than most public high schools would have. But I would say, looking at the makeup of the school, this is a magnet school. You have about 60%
So is mine.
of the students here are economically challenged at home. They are available. They're able
Okay,
to get.
I'm not
government
economically
funding,
challenged,
maybe,
but
free and reduced lunches.
Okay.
So like money's on their mind every day.
Yeah.
When it comes to this stuff. But they're also exceptional students who are high achievers because they're at this specific tech magnet school. So they're probably going to see a lot of stories on what they're doing in technology to kind of what the future is for them and how Apple devices can impact their studies. So I'm interested to see why they just picked this particular school.
They're definitely doing their best to make it very school-like. I saw a tweet from our buddy Scott Stein where Apple had given him a class schedule for the day.
Oh, yeah, let's
and it
pull
was
that
set
up.
Like, 10 o'clock this, 11 o'clock this, and then dismissal at the end of the day.
Yeah, I have it on my screen
that
here.
could be causing a little PTSD for a few people out there in the audience. Imagine you walk into high school, somebody hands you a class schedule, and you
Yeah.
just like freak out, man.
I would just have a terrible kind of flashback.
Yeah,
Get all
orientation,
nervous.
general assembly, a creative lab, coding lab. Oh, so after the assembly, he's going to go into coding. So so what does that tell you? These are some clues, right? Like,
This is giving me Bronx Science flashbacks right now.
No, you're right. There's definitely stuff there. I think it's just. It sounds like there's going to be hands-on with something.
well, I mean, Apple already. What do they do in education? They have the
so one guy's actually missing. His name's Brian Tong. If you guys watch CNET, he was a pretty big presence in the Apple community in CNET now. Off of latest news, I just watched one of his videos. He actually started his own channel. Go check him out. I'll see if I can put a card, but he's super cool. He made the whole CNET presence there for me, at least. That's the main reason I watch CNET. Like now, like he's gone, so like I'm barely gonna like watch CNET. I'm gonna keep them subscribed just to see some new updates, just like this. And so
No, we hear you great, buddy.
see what.
Slowly. I'm sitting down at Lane Tech's auditorium here in Chicago. We're super crammed in. These are student seats. So they're not meant for covering precedents. They do have outlets, which is nice. And I'm sitting here with Connie, who's over here, and Gabo on Espanol, and Gabo Sama. And we also have, Lexi, we have Shara over here. That's about the general range of my movement right now. That's about it.
That's pretty good. Sounds like you got a nice little comfy and tight
Hanging
seat
in there.
Scott, what have you heard anything since you've got there? Do you have a more clear idea of what exactly is going to be going down in the next couple of minutes?
Sure. This has been a lot like an immersive theater event. I came in, we had a class schedule set up. So we've got some stations and rooms and presentations. We all got that first day of school weird feeling filing into a very classic Ivy League looking sort of school environment, saying hi to other people in the tech press and feeling awkward. as we always do, but even more so because we're in school. And then we came in, there were some breakfast items. We sat down in this big space here, and I think what we're expecting to see, I mean, there's not been a structure like this before. So there's a presentation, but we also know coming up that there's going to be a classroom thing. There's going to be some sort of coding station or other classroom spot. I think we're here until 1. So, but it's very, broken down into groups. And we're going to have to see, how that feels. Move to station. Am I going to be coding later? Am I making robotics? I have no idea.
So what's the vibe? I mean, you've been to a bunch of Apple events. What would you say the vibe of this one is compared to the other ones that you've been able to check out? I know this is more lower profile.
So a lot of the same event staff people we know from Apple events are here, and the vibe is, this is a real school, so probably a little more quiet, respectful, trying to figure out our way around different space. The vibe is very much like, here's the next place you have to report. So we went down these school hallways. Other people went down other hallways. I don't know where they were going. We got put in our zone. I think the vibe is I'm curious about why this school and what the pitch or what the explanation is with that. How that feels different. Outside it was super cold. There were a lot of pop-up registration tents, buildings. So kind of like other Apple events, actually. The one on campus down in Cupertino was a bit like that, and kind of the same people. But this is such a recent event. It feels like it popped up pretty fast that everyone just feels quickly assembled for this, and we didn't know this was coming, even more so than normal. And it looks really Harry Pottery out there. So if you look at those pictures, inside it's pretty relaxed and chill. But I see Phil Schiller's a couple of seats ahead of me, so he's over there. We've got all the familiar faces in Apple that I've seen. So we're sitting pretty close to the front. And then, again, we know that some of us are not going to the same place later on. So we already know that our paths are diverging. Whatever
Just
that
like
may
real
mean.
high school.
Yeah, what clique are you in,
It is
Scott?
total high school. I went to the bathroom, so, it was like the faculty bathroom.
Oh, you got to see no hall pass needed.
Did you get an elevator pass?
Hey, Scott, where did they put the students?
It's spring break.
Oh.
I think.
What?
Is it spring break? Is that where all the kids are?
I don't know where the kids are. Maybe it's probably spring break, right?
I guess
Like here it's next week.
Yeah, I guess it's different throughout the country, but that was like what we were wondering. Where the hell are the kids?
They're working the event.
Try not to mess up their stuff.
Right?
Don't mess up their stuff. Be respectful. Maybe they're gonna appear at the end and say surprise. They'll all be here for us. Hey guys. So I don't know. We're the seats are really cramped. These are so actually I have an iPad now opened up, which is much better for my legroom than it's an iPad.
Okay, we're gonna mute this. So there was some questions on. We're just gonna take some questions because they're not answering them. AirPods 2 waterproof. We're not gonna be seeing that. As we saw, this mainly is an educational event. So mainly iPads, iPhone SE 2, and some other things relating to educational benefits like the coding stuff and some of the iCloud Drive stuff. So yeah, I wonder if I can just plug.
Yeah? Look at that. Oh, wow.
He's always there.
What do you mean he's always
So-
there? What does that mean?
Yeah, isn't he always at these
He's
events?
right up there.
What's he doing? Is he
Right up there along with Angela Ahrens.
What's he doing there?
What's he doing? I don't know. He's coming to be with us. But he does come to a number of Apple events. There he is, just 3 rows in front of us. So
Al Gore. Oh, Al Gore.
that's pretty cool. So
That is pretty cool.
maybe there'll be other appearances and surprises. Yeah, I'll just turn around and aim that. So I also think I'll just turn it that way and talk. I also think that pencil is a big deal because for art, for other functions like that, better keyboard support. If you're going to use these things to compete with Chromebooks, which have made a lot of headway in schools, pricing, and again, I just think if my wish list, I don't think it'll happen here, is just to make these iPads more like laptops for what kids and anybody else needs them for, to close that gap, because it's not closed yet. And iPads have advantages in being a little more closed off, and for education that can be helpful, but also it's not great for running, especially with browser environments, to run certain types of tools. I find it frustrating. I can't file stories easily on iPads, so that's I want the trackpad. I want the full laptop transformation.
So going back to the whole educational angle, we were just talking here before we went to you live in Chicago that most schools in the U.S., if they do have some kind of tablet, they're using a Chrome OS based tablet. 3 out of 5 tablets in the U.S. are Chrome OS tablets used for education. What can Apple do to sort of make a dent in that disparity?
Well, maybe they could start by making. One thing I feel is that Chrome OS is out there, and there are a lot of Chrome tools. Maybe iPads could work better with Chrome tools. I think that's feasible. It seems so, because you're not gonna get rid of that market. I mean, and I think it's a very distinct landscape than Apple and the app ecosystem. I think some way to address that, to fuse it. I think Apple will just keep building most likely on the apps and advantages there that they've already got. And maybe it has to do with creating a better way. We were just talking about this before, and Char had written about this, about resale value for iPads. Maybe there's an easier acquisition system for installing these in schools and trading them out for other models. I don't know. But I know that my kid uses an iPad, and I know that my kid also uses a ton of Chrome tools and wants a Chromebook. So, and that's something that feels more like a regular computer because it has normal web tools and trackpad. So, and it runs the different free apps and software. So I think that's a thing.
All right, we'll let you get back, unless do you have something else you want to talk to? All right, we're going to let you get back to getting ready for the event, which is set to start in about 5 minutes or so. Scott, thanks so much. We'll look to get in touch with you after the event.
All right, so it's going to be starting soon, I guess.
Good job. I'll see you again.
We're
All right,
going to...
tell Al Gore we said what's up.
No cutting class, Scott.
All right, we thank Scott Stein. That's not an easy thing to do in that seat, waiting for the live show to start.
Great job, and there was a woman right over his shoulder giving him side eye most of the time
Yeah,
because he's Skyping from his seat.
Yeah, she was sort of giving him the stink eye.
Every couple of seconds she goes.
That was interesting, Al Gore showing up there.
Apparently he's on Apple's board.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
I was just informed
So
by
then it's
Slack.
not that cool. Just so you guys know, the Apple event that's about to happen 5 minutes from now, it's not going to be streamed at all. This is really the only way you can follow along live, with the combination of this video stream and the live blog that you've got below our player. So you're going to want to keep it here for the next hour or so while this goes down. I know that's a lot to ask, but you're going to get the latest and greatest right here by sticking with us. So we look forward to that event starting in about 4 minutes.
Oh, we'll be reenacting the live blog.
Yeah.
You'll be playing the part of Tim Cook.
Okay, so I see what they're going to do. So they're going to probably take this down and then put in their live footage of what it's going to look like. So we're just going to mute this for now. They said that it's going to be starting in about like 4 minutes or so. Let's let's see. So we got Phil Schiller right there. It's a nice auditorium. So, yeah, this is good. Okay. So, for those of you that are just coming in or are kind of watching this on your own, this is going to be like a long video because, of course, it's a live stream. But essentially, this is the Apple Education event in Chicago. It's at, let's see, it's at Lane Tech, I believe. That's the name. And they're essentially going to be releasing some really cool products, such as the iPad, a cheaper iPad, if you will, and just some educational benefits, as well as other things that we probably don't know about that they're probably going to put in there. And of course, they're going to be releasing iOS 11.3, which is always nice. And yeah, so we're just going to stick around. Make sure if you're watching live, just stick around. It's going to be starting in about like 1 minute and 40 seconds. So yeah, and we shall see. Let's see what they're saying.
Fall back on.
I guess.
But do you need to take them back home all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I remember there were initiatives to sort of like leave the books at the school and not have them be, lugging back and forth. But Dan's right, 2018. How are we still carrying around 30
I had like a
pounds of books?
25-pound backpack, definitely. When
That
I was
is
like,
not true. We don't carry a ton of
I
stuff.
was ordered to not wear the backpack because I was going to get scoliosis, and I had to have total nerd alert here.
That's not nerd. That is protecting your spine.
No, I had like a little
rolly.
dolly rolling.
rolly?
And I'd be like rolling across with my braces. Hold on, guys.
Oh man, that's an exciting vision.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, I do see today a lot of kids when they go to school, they're double strapping it with the backpack. And in my day, you would never, ever, ever do that. No, single one strap.
Yeah, you
That's
wanted
your
to do permanent, irreparable damage.
Oh
to
my
your
God.
spine.
Okay, we're gonna mute that because it's this is one reason why I hate CNET. CNET is very, very inaccurate about some stuff that they talk about. They kind of overdo some of the stuff. Yeah, actually, oh, whoa. Talos of Tech is here. Okay. Hey, bud.
Got some interaction on Twitter right now. Hashtag CNET Live if you want to drop your thoughts in. Tom Rule over here, he's saying, oops, I put his profile instead. Tons of reasons why text won't go away. Students learn different paper versus screen. Retention is key. Paper rocks, but also
that is not true.
Look at Chromebooks, he says. And they found that like really too much damage, and iPads are harder to break in his school's research. So maybe for some schools that is something to consider too, because you have to obviously replace them when the kids are lugging them.
Yeah, Chromebooks are very fragile. Their construction is not very, I guess, like good. So
everyone's got a different viewpoint, right?
and Apple kind of has that covered in terms of the like insurance, because they do offer Apple Care to a bunch of the schools when they do buy these iPads, and that's their district wide. So essentially, my district is Clark County School District, and they essentially buy in this Apple Care insurance that's pretty much made wide available to all Apple products within all the schools in this district. So so I think Apple has that covered. Google doesn't really. I don't even know what Google does. And so, yeah, Google's kind of weird when it comes to damages, and they just seem very bulky, and I don't know. I don't really like Chromebooks too much.
Like the event has kicked off. They're being treated right now to a video of children playing. We know exactly where they're focused on out of the gate. Shara's basically transcribing what exactly is happening.
Slow-mo emotional music.
Which I think you can just imagine in your head just fine. And then she said there's some voiceover. A child says, "Imagination is the key because you're using knowledge, but you know to make something no one's made before."
Aww.
So we're getting real heady out of the gate.
That tug those heartstrings a little.
Of course. So yeah, I mean, they're obviously really ramping up to maybe inspire some creativity from children.
Are we gonna see we're talking all this time about the cheaper iPad. I mean, we gotta see an iPad Pro upgrade maybe too.
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe this isn't the venue for that, or maybe
Or it'll
it's
save
something
that for later. I don't
that
know.
gets sort of announced quietly.
Here's a
during
wild
this.
card I'll throw out,
Okay.
which is this guy right here, the classic MacBook Air, which is used by a ton of high school students and college students. Still one of the most popular laptops on college campuses, especially
Sure.
because it's the least expensive Apple laptop. It's built like a tank. It can last years and years and years.
Was it about $1,000 or
It's
so?
$9.99. You can usually get them for about $100 off. It's kind of dated. It's got this giant bezel here around the screen. The screen is low res. It's still got the classic island
He's not making
style
fun of you,
keyboard.
Bridget. He's just making
All
fun
right,
of
we'll
your
take it
computer.
personal.
But you know what? People still love them, even though they haven't really updated the design significantly in years and years. They give it a very, very, very tiny CPU spec bump last year, staying within the same 2 or 3 generation old CPUs. But that just shows you the longevity of this machine. If there was a way to get the price on this down a little bit, because frankly it's been $9.99 for years and years and years, why not do that and give maybe not for middle school kids, but for high school kids and college kids, give them a $700 MacBook Air? Why not?
Right.
This is a prep school. They could.
So I'm gonna see. Okay. So we're gonna go back.
March for Your Lives.
Everyone's like going,
Protests
start
across the
already.
country, sort of playing into, the future of our country are these children, for sure. So, yeah, they're talking about some sort of partnerships that they've recently done. Shara says that Tim Cook is quoting the CPS collaboration that Apple partnered up with, and they're going to be teaching coding to more than 370,000 kids across the district. And now getting into more about the specifics of Lane Tech and its efforts to sort of be a part of that.
Lane Tech is the #5 school in all of Illinois in terms of U.S. News and World Report rankings. I can throw a little fact
Okay.
out there.
Good
So
ATEC's
it's
number
one of their
3
top schools, for sure.
And they say Chicago is the third
in
largest
Las
public
Vegas,
school
or
district
in
the US.
Nevada, I should say.
More PhDs come from Lane than any school in the country.
Huh.
What?
Interesting.
No.
Lane.
All right. So yeah, I mean, kind of makes sense now why they chose this high school.
Yeah.
All this context definitely
It's
adds
very
to
diverse,
the story
too.
they're trying to tell.
Yeah, it's a very diverse school too.
All
So they
right.
have students playing music in this video behind Tim Cook now, or his photo. We know our products can help bring out the creative genius in every kid. Of course, creativity they're going to focus on. That's their bread and butter.
So Scott is talking about how now they're going back 40 years. And they're going to teach a history lesson that starts in 1978. And now here's where everyone starts to feel a little older.
This is getting a little nostalgic for me. I see the old computers. We used to
Where are the
learn.
floppies?
You know what? I don't even know if we had floppies.
They
They
might
were
not
definitely
have-
5-inch ones.
Yeah,
But we learned basic in, I'm going to say 5th, 6th,
Ew.
7th grade
Basic?
at my public
Ew.
school in the Bronx. We had a
Ew.
computer lab full of Apple IICs and Apple IIes, maybe. And we used them to make our own, like, text adventure games and, like, little, math games and stuff. And obviously a lot different from the coding kids learn today.
Was that your first exposure to Macs?
It must have been, although I think I had a computer at about the same time. That first computer is a famous one. It was the Tandy TRS-80 color computer,
Okay.
also known as by computer aficionados as the Trash 80. The TRS-80, which is, it had a cassette drive. So if you wanted to play a program, usually a game,
Why?
you'd put an audio cassette in something that looked like an old audio cassette player that was hooked up to the computer. You'd press play, and would have to play for like 7 or 8 minutes to load up the program.
Yeah.
And then you were playing Dungeons of Daggerath or something, and basically this is Ready Player One right here.
Oh,
Literally, all the
God.
references I'm giving you are in Ready Player One.
This is the first chapter of that book.
Including that game I just mentioned that I played and is very prominent in that book. Because we had a very similar.
What is that
Ernest
thing?
Klein and I must have had a very
Jesus
similar
Christ.
childhood experience. Look at that.
Jesus Christ, what is that thing? I swear. So, yeah, I'm gonna, for those of you guys that are just coming in, I'm going to have to unmute and mute because I can't get the desktop audio function to work. So, I am just having guys hear it through the speaker. I don't know how this is gonna sound, but yeah.
Software that allowed you to create some sort of interactive deck, if that makes sense. I know, exciting.
Well, my
Yeah, the
first
Apple Store is down.
Is the big floppy
Apple
and
website? Hold on,
putting
let's
in
go
number
to Apple's
munchers
website.
and Oregon Trail and any sort of big program like that. But yeah.
All right, back to the event. Tim Cook is talking about the Everyone Can Code initiative. Really going over the educational initiatives that they have they've been undertaking for the last decade or so.
These events always start off with a lot of humble bragging.
Totally, a lot of back padding.
Yeah, check out all we've done. Just wait to hear what's coming up next.
A lot of
Well, yeah, you're gonna show off your achievements.
More people use Chrome in schools. That's not what we're worried about right now. But again, this is the preparation for the sort of push that they're going to be making during the event here.
Now, is anyone in the audience, in the auditorium, writing up their live blog or stories about this event on a Chromebook? If so, will Apple agents rappel down from the ceiling?
Yeah,
and remove
and just
them
sort
from the
of
venue?
silently take them out, Oh, there wasn't anyone sitting here.
Oh, got a woman on stage. Shara says the fastest she's seen Apple put a woman on stage. She is Kathleen.
So we're gonna go here. Mac Rumors is actually also doing live update. Okay. And today, Apple Sessions. So, as you guys know, Apple stores kind of offer these Apple Sessions at their stores. It's called Today at Apple. And they do things all the way from, creating a sealer. Doing code with Swift Playgrounds, all the way to creating media, like videos, stuff like that. How to make great photos. I guess CNET's not really doing that much. They're just talking. They're getting live updates, but Mac Rumors is already doing that. Cook is now saying that Apple's also working with 40 STEM organizations around the world, as we saw with that picture that they showed up on the screen. Cook hands the stage to a woman named Kathleen, who is a former teacher and current Apple employee working on educational initiatives. Okay. So if you guys don't know, STEM is essentially science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So essentially deals with all those things because there is a push for more of those STEM ideas. So we're seeing coding, for example, as a STEM or program, and so let's see, who's a former teacher? Okay, so nothing really that big coming out so far. Let's let's go back to CNET. Let's see what they're talking about.
You know, maybe there's a way to like streamline that and not have it be like this handout and gather sort of process. But don't get mistaken. There are definitely inherent challenges with rolling out something like this to students across the country. It's not it's easy for us to just be like, yeah, textbooks are heavy and cumbersome and stupid, but the logistical rollout of everything is not as cut and dry as standard books would be.
They currently have a program called Classroom that lets teachers manage all those iPads too. In case you're wondering about, like, you can't just like browse whatever you want or download whatever you want.
Right.
There are permissions that are limited on these machines.
So Google kind of also has that with their Google Classroom. They kind of have this sort of idea where teachers have these different classrooms or classes. You can add your classes, and essentially you can add notifications, homework, blah 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 blah. It's super nice. I have to deal with it, and the horrible thing is that it like updates like every second.
Now,
So it's very annoying.
But look now, that's all these are handwritten again, just like the invitation. Which
Why
is
isn't this
your
Mac
observation
not updated?
that
What
maybe
the?
There is an Apple Pencil
No, you're right.
announcement
You're
here.
right, Dan. They're just going to be teaching calligraphy. Is what is going down here, like you said before.
These kids are all going into the wedding invite business, and that's what you need.
There is a dearth going on at the moment.
that was 150 years ago.
Yeah, I think like they're also trying to sell the idea too. It's not just like use our stuff. It's like you need tablets in schools. You need this kind of drastic kind of educational reform. So,
And do you guys use styluses a lot with either tablets or touchscreen laptops or hybrids, convertibles, 2-in-1s?
There's something to be said about what you learn in grade school is how your brain. I mean, you can always.
Okay,
learn new
so
things,
there
but,
is
like,
a
I
new
physically
video
like
that was just
typing
posted
more
from
when I'm
Apple.
writing. Although
We're gonna take a
for
look
lot
at
of
it.
people who are younger,
So this was that child video, if you will. Let's go to it. The internet's kind of very slow. As you can see, you see my live stream. Let's go here. Apple. Okay, so Apple just posted this. I'm gonna. Some nice slow-mo.
Imagination is the key because you're using your knowledge, but to make something that no one's made before.
You're not wrong, kid. You're not wrong.
If you're creative, then other people will be inspired by you, and then they'll keep pushing forward. So if you'll spread it to your friends, and then your friends will spread it to their friends, and then all over the world, everyone will have a happy life. It's like a whole land of imagination where you feel like you can make anything or invent anything you want, and you make something that nobody has ever
Think of. I'm sorry. These are kids. These are like elementary school kids. My bad.
You're gonna be a pro, so you better get creative right now. So
Yeah, you better get
carry
creative
those
right now.
things, what you did from the past, carry those things, bring them to the future.
Yes. I will bring them to the
Anything
future.
you want, and you can make that change the world. One small thing could change the world. Like one person can change the world.
My bad. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, we're gonna go back to CNET.
hefty sort of thing, and I remember holding on to that for at least 2 to 3 years after I had graduated, when my email would still inexplicably work.
I'm sorry, Scott. We didn't have .edus when I was in college.
Oh, you didn't?
I had a Unix account and a fax.
Are made in the App Store for education. It's probably something we knew already, but nevertheless.
Executive describes who
Man, they
conducted.
really are beating around the bush. I don't know. It's only been 15 minutes, but like
That may be why they're not televising this.
could be.
Because just like, hey, we make a lot of education apps.
All right, Tom Rule's back on Twitter, chiming in what we just talked about. He works at a school, and he says they get the same pricing, $20 off. But he's not buying a gazillion, just a few hundred.
That's a lot, though.
Yeah, so it adds up. It adds up the discount, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, obviously...
There are 200,000. And what's really interesting is, a lot of the Google apps, if you will, are on iPads. So you can still use the Google services and, get these nice iPads. But the thing is, Apple doesn't want to do that. They want to make you use their own services. They want to, because it's more streamlined. Google apps are good. They're pretty, nice in terms of what they offer. But they're not on an Android tablet. They're not on a Chromebook. It's very different. So
the iPad learning experience, but not even 3. He'll be 3 in a couple weeks, but he gets it, and I think it's a learning tool. I will say this though. I think a lot of the learning that is currently going on with it actually from TV.
Bro, okay, there are gonna be so many jabs. I feel like at Chrome or like Google that are just like, ooh, okay,
his memory is
good.
just like completely exercised with some of this stuff to the point where he, in the instantaneous application.
Let's see if iOS 11.3 has been released.
Wow, maybe you don't even need to go to school. We'll just watch PBS for the next.
TV. My girl learns a lot from Daniel Tiger.
Danny Tiger knows what's up, man. He's super wise.
It's a shocking moment, and tell me, it'll happen to you someday if it has not happened yet. When your child picks up either your iPhone or your iPad and knows your passcode, and you haven't told them.
Haven't done that yet.
Dad figured that out right away.
Yeah.
And then he got control. He has an old iPad 2, I think, in like a big rubber bumper,
right.
and he's used that for years. He figured out how to search for videos by voice.
Oh boy.
On like YouTube for kids, so he just hits the microphone and goes like, marble runs, making slides. but there are tons of games that have math components and reading components and basic shape stuff. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. I think he's more into that than TV though.
Well, so here's some examples of how her students are using it. They're not only researching, collecting, and presenting their work, but they're doing it by making videos. So they're presenting all the work that they've done in a class project using video on iPad. So being able to see their learning in video helps the teacher better assess what they know. It's
that's an interesting point.
We always kind of joke like, oh my gosh, you're putting a camera on this big hunkin' iPad. Like, who's using that? Well,
I see that all the time.
It's the student project.
And that's an important point of differentiation between an iPad or an iPhone and a Chromebook. Yes, you could possibly shoot some video on a Chromebook, and maybe you could edit it if you had a good online editing tool, but it's not as easy as shooting it on an iPad and editing it in iMovie or just trimming it in camera roll and putting some titles
I agree with that.
That's one of the things that an iOS device can do that, frankly, a Chromebook or other Chrome OS device.
So many of my Chromebooks that I have at my school actually don't even have, outside webcams, and the webcam that they use is really low res. So it's
further. Now they're showing the Apple Pencil.
Yeah,
stylus.
so it's very bad, and especially I'm doing a project coming up for my AP Lit class that requires us to pretty much shoot a video, or the teacher wants us to shoot a video. So we can't really use the Chromebooks for that. So yeah, I kind of agree with this guy.
It looks like it's going to be a 9.7-inch iPad Pro.
Oh, interesting.
He said it looks like
okay.
It. Maybe it's boasting similar specs.
9.7 is the standard iPad non-Pro size that they've had since the beginning.
Okay.
The quote on stage is the new 9.7-inch iPad.
All right, so I think it's just an iPad, not a Pro, just adding pencil support. Now the question is, do you still charge and sync the pencil by awkwardly plugging it into the lightning jack at the bottom of it, which is one of the single most ridiculous, I think, Apple design decisions I've ever seen.
That and the mouse that gets recharged by...
Oh, that too, yes, yes.
So help me understand, Dan. The iPad, the 9.7 current iPad, what separates...
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it does support Apple Pencil.
For many years, then they had the iPad Air and Air 2, and then called the iPad again. That was essentially an iPad Air 1 in terms of body size.
So I'm just gonna mute this. So it's clear. We are getting a new 9.7-inch iPad with Touch ID, and it is supporting the Apple Pencil. Now, in terms of
features
the
that
pricing,
Pro has,
we
the Pro
don't
10.5
know
inch
yet.
is also
They
the
haven't
one
really
with public version.
stated.
You can still get it, but that's not as updated as the 10.5.
As you can see,
the current one.
We're seeing one of Scott's old videos of the new iPad Pro, by the way.
There's the Pro, and I think we have a video of the 9.7 iPad from last year, which probably is what this new one looks like. Maybe it's Pro features in a non-Pro body, which is an interesting combination. I like that.
Yeah, so,
I knew it.
Here,
I knew
here's a
it.
good
There.
sort of
Okay,
layout
wait.
of what
So
exactly is around.
Apple is
Okay,
updating
that
its
9.7.
iWork suite with new versions of Pages, Numbers, and Keynote that supports Apple Pencil, which is nice. So as we can see, we have that right there. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, add drawings to reports in Pages or Keynote. That's interesting. I don't know why they didn't include this before, but it's Apple, so we'll never know. Yeah.
There's going to be updates to these working apps here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pages,
just-
Numbers, Keynote, but
we
that's
went
not
over
just
this.
numbers. Yeah, that would be for every
Right.
iPad or every iOS device.
So maybe we're not looking at any kind of hardware update. I mean, it would have. Would
Well,
there
I feel
have
like
to be
they would
something
call
for the
that-
pressure?
I don't know. That's a good question. So
Yeah.
that might be the difference here, because the screen in the previous iPad, I think, lost a layer of they had like a one-piece screen design to save some money.
Okay, so here's a smart annotation. You see, normally when you turn in your papers electronically, teachers have to still mark them up, and so they have to print them out. And this is something where maybe a teacher can, actually, make little comments on how little Johnny's doing on this assignment.
Well, that's collaboration. That's the same thing we do in Google Docs when we mark something up. But
Exactly.
that's super important, especially for school stuff. And we do it here all the time.
With
too.
smart annotation, your words will stay anchored to the words they were added to.
Interesting.
So I guess you can, it's like
That's kind of cool.
with a pencil, the same exact kind of stuff, but you can probably have a little more freedom, a little more flexibility to,
We see that a lot in the Microsoft Edge browser, which came with Windows 10. If you use that,
Okay, so
with
Apple
the
is
Surface
discussing digital textbooks. Like, they were saying smart. But that's interesting. It won't be made. See, I don't like how Apple is doing this now. Like, they release something and then they say, oh yeah, it's not gonna be made available. That's one thing that I feel like Apple should fix. So now that was just a little side note, but now they're discussing digital textbooks. Let's see what they say.
able to customize it to what your kids are exactly learning about in class. You can see in that example, there's a video they can click. There's,
No, notice they're showing a MacBook Pro, here,
Yeah.
not an iPad.
New MacBook.
Yeah, because it says they're bringing digital book creation to
iBooks
the
Author is expanding
and they're
beyond
putting it
the
right
Mac to
like
iPad.
Pages app. So
Interesting.
the Pages app will have everything.
So
you need
iBooks
to-
Author, I believe, is like what they were discussing, where you can essentially, like click on videos and stuff, and you can control what students look at. So I guess there's that.
sort of interactivity, customize that for their classrooms is what I'm
this
sort of
up.
extracting from that kind of announcement, which I think is pretty cool.
And with Apple
photos.
Pencil, you can personalize the book with your own illustrations, which
Right.
actually.
This is yours, Bridget.
No,
Okay.
well, honestly, what do you do in classes, especially things like chemistry? You're sitting there copying the teacher, drawing things out. It's more than just,
Adding little doodles.
Right. So a teacher might have their own doodle that they want to put on a lesson.
Yeah, I guess so what the takeaway is right now is obviously how Pencil is this sort of educational key that they're about to.
I mean, they
sort of
really
open
locked
up.
the Pencil out to just the Pro, and it was
Yeah.
expensive. And not everyone who bought a Pro bought the Pencil, so it's been a very kind of niche product. So maybe
I knew this would happen with
a lot of
CNET.
different areas. Is it still $99?
Okay,
Right.
updated iWork suite
Well, all this
will
stuff we're
be
talking about,
preloaded
the
on
iPads,
iPads
the
free of
Macs,
charge.
they're
So
already free.
that's kind of
Every
normal
iPad.
for
So,
iPads.
Buy the game, buy an iPad. You're gonna have all this power. Okay, so now we're talking about the specs.
Oh, most affordable iPad, but they haven't said the price yet.
It's gonna have a 10-hour battery with an A10 chip.
Oh shoot!
Okay, that's good. Doesn't the old one have the A9?
Yeah,
Sure has.
it does.
Gyroscope, so it'll know tilt.
Touch ID, they still have that.
Oh yeah, there's still a fingerprint scanner on there.
which could be important for schools in terms of authentication and logging in.
Yeah, because if you were going to share an iPad and do Face ID, that's a bit much and expensive.
I mean, just weighs just a pound. I mean, I like what I'm hearing. Dan, does this sort of on paper feel like it's mostly a clone of that original?
It does not seem
9.7?
radically different than the iPad from last year. I think we'll have to get a closer look at it to see. But
I think with the actual lower end 810 Fusion chip, it should be a lot cheaper to manufacture. So let's see what the price is. You never know. It could be.
Before we get there, Shara said, with the 810 Fusion chip, this iPad is now more powerful than most PC laptops and virtually every Chromebook.
Look, Chromebook, little dig right there.
Yeah, by Shara.
Oh yeah.
Dan, we're getting to exactly what you said about what Microsoft is doing with augmented reality.
Yeah.
You're going to be pointing this iPad at things, and you're going to be seeing live things on your classroom table.
I think the Apple Pencil support is definitely good. Let's just see what the price is because. Okay, that's nice. It weighs 1 pound. Okay. I gotta say, probably lighter than a Chromebook. So I'm just gonna keep making jabs at Google, because I get so frustrated by Google, and like most of my friends can agree with this. Like one time we were at a debate tournament, right? And so the whole Google service for Google Drive was down, and it was really crucial that we needed certain things from our Google Drive, and the Google Drive service was down, so we couldn't get into it, and it was a tournament, and we did so much work. So
For what it's worth, the Apple Store is currently being updated, so perhaps these are something here could be, consumer focused, consumer facing.
There's something called AR Boulevard that is almost like a art history related app, and you can kind of imagine art hanging on walls. It says. Okay, another one being talked about called Free Rivers by the World Wildlife Fund. So it's not just reading about science, quote on stage, it's experiencing it.
Yeah, and I feel like this new iPad it's not going to be only available to people in schools. They're just going to put it on. Everyone will be able to buy it. Maybe you'll get your $20 off.
Right, you get
with
your
discount.
discount.
With your education discount. It was interesting to hear that schools don't get preferential pricing, even though they buy in bulk.
If they can get the iPad down to $250 for holiday sales, schools should be able to have access to that price.
Yeah, I mean,
The schools aren't out to do anything except to teach children and help the next generation become better than us.
If I were Tim Cook, dare to say, I would want a free iPad in every student's hands in the country because you're making a lifetime customer.
Totally.
This is almost $1 trillion company. They could
take
blanket
that hit.
schools.
Yeah, I agree with them. Like they were discussing earlier about the Macs, we had that whole 90s and 80s generation that grew up with Macs, had Macs in their classrooms, and now like we see a bunch of these older college students with Macs. They're essentially like lifetime customers, like they were saying. I totally agree. And I think that's where Apple and like a lot of other tech companies are kind of turning a blind eye. They're not realizing, past techniques that have been used, especially from Apple. I find that surprising. I'm obviously going to be a lifetime member of Apple, but it would help for yourselves. You're even though you're losing some money, you'll gain a lot more. With a lot more products down the line. So.
Maybe people could watch the school play with augmented reality and see like cool sets and costumes and special effects. Oh, I think I got an idea here. Let's Kickstarter this. Let's go.
Look, the AR stuff it's pretty cool. I think like if I had a tool like this, I would be way more into possibly opening up a fake frog.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I don't want to smell that formaldehyde.
Yeah, that was like the worst thing. I have such awful traumatic memories of that day in science in middle
Froggy.
school.
No,
This is not something I want to do. If I could just open up one of these things
That's cool.
on my iPad.
Oh, it's called Frog Media.
Yeah. So the starting price for this new iPad 9.7
Okay.
is $329, and the school price $299.
So it's the same thing.
There's your $20 discount.
Alright. So you know what? That does follow the cutting prices. For the most part, there have been exceptions. But generally speaking, the next version of a product keeps the same price, improves the specs, so you feel like you're getting more for your money, but they don't have to lower prices overall, which is something I think we all know Apple is loath to do, to lower prices in general.
Right.
If you have an iPad right now, you can download these iWorks updates today. And right now they're talking about GarageBand updates for kid sounds. So it was a kid sound pack, I guess, to be a little silly and goofy.
So GarageBand is pretty awesome for kids,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah. So Dan, as a consumer, you see the new layout, you see the new updated specs on the 9.7. Is this a good buy?
It's the one that we had last year, the 9.7-inch iPad.
All right. So before he goes on, he's probably gonna say some crap, but I think $300. You know, $250 was kind of asking a little too much, but I think $300 is pretty good. Okay, let's do some research. Actually, let's go on to I don't know. Let's go to Best Buy right now. Right? Let's go to Best Buy. I want to see how much a Chromebook, the cheapest Chromebook, you can probably get it for like $100. I'm pretty sure. Let's go check it out. And I'll turn this on while I'm doing this.
Usually $150 maybe. I think they have a lot of sales on that. It's not as good as an iPad, 100%, but it's pretty darn good, and it's half the price.
Apple, they're not talking about what they do for when students are sharing an iPad, because not every school is going to have one iPad per kid. That's a little bit. It depends on the school you go to, right? But they have something called Apple School Manager, where an Apple ID can be created in bulk. You can create IDs for a school of 1,500 kids in less than a minute. My graduating class was 2,000, so.
Okay, that's good, because that is getting into the Google count type of thing.
This is actually a banner moment here. This is a feature people have been asking for years and years and years, the ability to have different accounts on an iOS device and log people in and out so you get your preferences and your information and your apps and stuff. The fact that they're using schools as an excuse to have this is actually pretty awesome if everybody can get this.
I like that.
That's what I was about to say. They're sneaking it in under the guise of school management, but at the end of the day,
There you go. Okay.
profile swapping and
That
accounts
is,
Apple
that is
on a
good.
single device. I hope so.
Tigers
Dan.
previously. Okay, that's.
Apparently, though, they had this for school users for a while
Okay.
as part of an Apple Classroom app, but clearly it's not widely spread.
We were just I was asking about storage. Schools get for free 200 gigabytes of iCloud. I don't know.
Storage.
I don't know if that's per certain.
Yeah,
amount
like
of-
that's per
but
iPad as opposed to the 5.
'Cause
I
it's
think
5
5 gigs
before.
that you get now, which consumers I think still only get the 5.
So Logitech, they're talking about Logitech's new kid iPad case and a $49
Here we
pencil
go, from
alternative
Logitech.
called Crayon.
Nice.
I don't know if it has the exact same features,
Probably not.
but I mean, if it's half the price of a pencil.
But the fact that they're
That's all
opening
you
up the
need.
stylus
Yeah,
game
to
to
third-party.
third-party companies is really interesting. Who knows how many knockoff pencils we'll see now and whatever. You probably get a $10 one within 2 months.
I'm not seeing any new features in that pencil either. It's just the current pencil.
No, that's the same pencil. The pencil's really good though.
Is it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no,
good,
people
but
love
yeah,
it.
I mean,
Not a lot of people have it, but the
I-
people who have it love it.
I made my little because I know that it's been so much time since Microsoft's Pen has had an eraser, and I always wonder why. But I
Oh,
guess
you
that's
just flip
how
it around.
I
I mean,
know,
you can
or
just press a
something.
button in the app and
Yeah.
use the tip as the eraser. But we've had comic book artists in here. We've had animators in here, designers, and had them test drive the iPad Pro with the pencil, the Microsoft Surface Pro with the Microsoft.
So yeah, so I don't know about 200 gigs. I don't know how that's going to fare. Is that for each school or is that for the district as a whole? I think that's for each individual school. If it's for each individual iPad, that would be good. But again, the school would be awesome. So yeah, so right now Google has, I believe, unlimited storage. Now, I don't know if they're going to do that. I'm not too clear on that, but yeah, 200 gigs is more than enough, I think, in my opinion, for a lot of the stuff.
Drag
Oh, they're still talking about the pencil. Okay, the pencil is good. I've heard really good things. You know, a lot of artists, a lot of people that have used it say that it is good. Okay, like so. Okay, so the Classroom app for Mac.
With the crayon now.
Okay,
Now they got a pencil and they got
so thank you for finally bringing this to the Mac because it was only available on iOS, and so
We sort of predicted
yeah.
a few minutes ago where we were saying, all right, well, you know, creating syllabuses and curriculum for teachers, it seems like they're getting serviced with a classroom app that will allow teachers to sort of keep their students focused and kind of track progress.
And that's a lot like we were talking about before, where the Windows school laptops had a teacher program, and the students saw the student program, and the teacher could either see what was on the screen, take over the student's screen, take any student's screen and share it to the rest of the classroom. That sort of systemic control within like a 20 or 30 person classroom setting.
The Classroom has existed, but the news here is that the Classroom is now available on the Mac. So
Right.
if you're the teacher with your Mac, you can kind of tap into it and not just be using an iPad yourself.
That's right. The brand new app that they are debuting is called Schoolwork, and that is a free cloud-based app that makes it easy to assign handouts and to tap into the power of the apps that that are able to track sort of each student's progress.
That sounds fun. Let's make an app called Schoolwork.
Yeah. Did you do your schoolwork? That's what's gonna
I'm gonna
happen.
go download Schoolwork.
Why don't they just call it homework? Why don't they just call it awful homework?
Like check your schoolwork app for your homework.
Yeah, so that, you know, look, this is definitely educationally empowering, so that's pretty cool.
It's literally as easy as sending an email. That's how most communication is now. So they're just trying to give you. It's almost like Slack for kids.
I know. Yeah.
Oh no. What a nightmare world you've created for us.
Dark future bridges. Is what we're
Now I
gonna call
can't
it.
stop thinking about Slack for kids.
You know, you know, to me, it's just funny how it's just basically like the digitizing of all the analogs that we had when we were in school, like the Xerox, you know, worksheets and whatnot, and yeah.
The copy of copies that is like faded. Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
schools, especially public schools, are
Oh.
so caught in the middle right now between the digital world
Yeah, the
and that kind of
transition.
vintage retro paper world. So you could be in one class one year and the teacher has a great email list and sends out stuff or has some sort of cloud sharing account that everybody can get their materials from. And then the kid in the next classroom over could have a teacher who has no idea how to do any of that stuff, and they just get mimeographed, off-center pages sent home crammed in a backpack every day. Or if you go to the school office, you still have to like write down a note on a scrap of paper and leave it in like a metal mail tin somewhere next to the time card clock that they still punch in and out of.
The digital divide is real, and your opportunities are what tools are in front of you. You know, even students who require this homework to take home, if they don't have an iPad to take home, and have no computer at home, what are they going? They're going to the library, which is also underfunded. It closes in 2 hours, and then whatever you can do there. So yeah, like all these things, it's fantastic, it's great, but you have to also hope that it can be in their lives throughout their day and when they have homework to take home too.
And that's why I think this 200 gigs of iCloud storage is so important, because one of the big advantages that Chromebooks and Chrome OS has is even if you're not taking that unit home with you at night, you can access all of your stuff from any computer just by logging into your Gmail account, whether that's at a library, whether that's at home, whether it's your parents' work computer, their home computer, a PC, a Mac, even a phone, really anything, you can get to your stuff and it's all there in the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what Apple really is pitching is basically a transformation of the entire classroom teacher-student experience. I mean, they seem to have, designed a workflow that would essentially replace all analog elements of everyday school life.
And once we had robot teachers, let me tell you,
Now we're talking. And then that's when they bring out the new robo teacher,
I want
Siri.
I want Animoji teachers.
No, I do not want that.
This is so cringe. The CNET live stream is so cringe.
Animoji
But
teachers.
I have to have it on just in case if they have some new stuff that they get.
This is
Great
the
with
API that
its-
allows all these hook-ins to
Okay.
the schoolwork system. it does look a little bit layered, so it's hard to kind of
Right, and
piece
it's
it
not
all
coming
together.
until June.
Right. So
Which-
schoolwork will be available in June.
The
and-
same time as the classroom app for Mac.
You just said robot teacher. There is something called
Oh,
Apple
no.
Teacher. It's our free and self-paced online professional learning program.
Okay.
For teachers.
Easy
Teacher
there.
training.
Easy there. We gotta tread lightly. Schoolwork, yeah. So Shara says schoolwork available in June, and then Scott adds that essentially this is their Apple's big answer to Chrome and its sort of software ecosystem.
Sure. And remember, Apple had an early head start in this market, starting, frankly, 8 years ago in 2010 with the first iPads. Everyone said, oh, a $500 computer-like device we can put in schools, that's great. But then over the years, they were totally eclipsed, first by cheap Windows laptops, then by Chromebooks, which ran the Chrome OS system. Is it too late to go back now? Are school districts so invested in these other products
Yep.
that they get through
They are.
or HP or Lenovo or whoever else, all of whom make education Chromebooks that are frankly often ruggedized,
Yeah.
which these kids really need.
Yeah.
This does not look like you'd have to get like a big rubber bumper cover or something. Is it too late? Apple often gets into markets years after everyone else because they're waiting for the right time. We're adding a big screen phone now. We're adding this feature. We're adding facial recognition years after everybody else, but it's still the best version. And everyone goes, oh, that's great. For schools, is it too late? Are schools already overinvested in Chromebooks?
My simple question, yes. And however I want to try to convince my school to switch over to the Apple ecosystem, it's not going to happen. Like, okay, I don't know what these virtual badges are.
No.
Yes.
It's true, though.
Listen,
Invites a
my house
teacher.
The school district is
Okay.
a Windows 10.
It's a Windows 10 school. They'll
Windows
never
10
dig
S.
themselves out of
Oh.
that mess. Yeah, that Black Mirror.
Just
brought
burn
you
your
guys
house
in.
for the insurance money now.
Oh God.
Oh, sad comment from Laura
Oh.
CNET. All this has me thinking schoolwork hanging on the fridge at home is going to be a thing of the past.
No,
I think it already
your
is.
smart fridge will have
The
room.
screen on it,
Yeah, we're fine.
But that's a Samsung. Oh no!
Oh no! Guess what, Billy? Your schoolwork can't show up on the fridge. Used to be easier, can't do it now. I'm sorry.
Do what I did years ago. Get 4 of those cheap, what are the 3M, those little plastic hooks.
Yeah.
With the elastic thing you pull and it pops off. Stick 2 down here, 2 up here on your refrigerator. You slide the iPad right in. That was the first iPad wall mount I think I hacked many, 7 or 8 years ago. I just put some of these little hooks up, plastic hooks I got at Lowe's, and just slid my iPad in. I was like, look, I made a wall mount.
That's just not what I'm looking forward to having to do. What else is happening here, Bridget? You look like something's caught your attention.
Well, I'm just kind of poking around on what people are saying on Twitter, but in general, back in the live show, we got another woman on stage. She's from a school in Baton Rouge, talking about how Apple Teacher and her experience using Apple Teacher. So it looks like some folks have been able to use it already, and it's changing how they're kind of doing their curriculums. It sounds like the learning is more student centered because they're all like around the computer and creating things. I think that's fun.
I see one of them earned a badge for pages in iPad by doing the Apple Teacher training.
Oh yeah.
So we've added gamification to
Education.
Apple iPad teacher training.
Yeah, the teacher side, it did say has badges, and you can see how you can get examples though from other teachers, so you're not like alone in your quest for more badges. You can kind of get examples from what others are doing.
And we're not knocking badges in school. I mean, stickers and check pluses
Teachers
have been around.
But for
stickers.
teachers too?
Teachers need some stickers too. They need a little.
I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, hey,
I
I'm not judging. I'm not above that.
That's great. What I don't see here is something that's an interesting topic that I think people are talking about more and more, which is remote learning, like actually conducting classes remotely. There were a ton of startups that are very invested in that.
That would be
say,
smart
Khan
in terms of
Academy,
Apple's
obviously
part.
very big
Maybe
in that.
acquiring something, like you said, maybe acquiring a startup that does do that. I think honestly, they should invest their time into that, because I know when I'm at least at home and I'm absent for a week, which I was, I lose track of a lot of things. So I can't really do anything. I have to wait that whole next week or when I get back to pretty much catch up on what I've missed. And Google Classroom was there, but it was kind of like okay. So Apple, maybe you should add that. I'm just saying, maybe.
Material.
Today's special guest, Jeff Bacala, coming to you live from New Jersey.
Oh my God, what
Pop up on your screen.
And we're talking about teaching kids how to code, the Swift app, and they definitely have been doing a lot here already. With Swift playgrounds.
I can agree to that.
Making it easy with the programming language, and of course, get more kids to program on Apple devices makes more future Apple product things. Start them
I
out.
feel like we're getting a real flavor of the event here, even though Apple is not actually streaming it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I understand why they didn't choose to stream it, but it is sort of like.
I'm probably gonna do another. Just a little back note. I think I might do another live stream during WWDC. And I might have these like just general live streams, just answering some live questions, things like that. And yeah, so it's saying that Swift Playgrounds is now localized to 15 languages and available in 155 countries. So that's pretty cool. I personally use Swift to program a lot of applications. And yeah, I do a bunch of stuff. Swift Playgrounds is getting a new augmented reality module. Oh, okay.
That sounds like that's going to be an ad by next week. Gets the job done, Richard Carey.
That's cool.
So yeah, again, their teaching to code initiative isn't necessarily new, but it seems like it's becoming more sort of fleshed out.
I think this is the class that Scott's taking after presentation based on his on his schedule of events.
Is Scott going to learn Swift programming?
But will it work with Labo?
Ooh, yeah. I'll tell you, when I've been at like WWDC and they start talking about, remember they introduced Swift year before last year maybe? That's where I've been doing this for a long time, but even I was just like, what? And my eyes glazed over. Tim Stevens, who was sitting next to me, was apparently a big coder, was like, oh, he was super into this. So,
they're talking.
Any Swift questions you have, ask Tim.
On Swift, there's an AR kit module. So now the students who are learning how to program can learn how to program with some 3D and AR, and
that's nice.
have
I like that.
They'll have fun there.
Awesome.
Scott says it sounds fascinating. I think being there, you get this. Your imagination kind of starts to run. You get to see like, wow, what would life have been like if I learned this, and how would it have changed things?
Yeah. Personally, when I was coding, at least augmented reality, it was a lot harder in terms of the fact that when I was developing AR with Unity, actually, and if you guys don't know, Unity is also a game development platform. It was kind of tough because some of the AR kit module wasn't really working a lot of the times, and it was just weird. But and it took a long time, very frustrating, and hopefully this so-called AR kit module on Swift Playgrounds, could be the next big thing. So we'll see.
Of the next generation. So
When did you learn to code? Was it a game? Was it a?
It was like I don't remember the language, but it was some sort of like shape creation. There's a lot of like vector-based kind of stuff where you would like just.
Here, I'm gonna also start Instagram live stream, so people can also.
Stuff like that, if I remember. I mean, we're going back almost 30 years.
That's more advanced than what I've ever done.
Yeah.
In my middle school, we had a like an elective. It was basic. We had to save our stuff on floppies.
Yeah.
And the only mission we had to do was like draw a thing and have it animate. And I decided to draw an intro to a new video game I created based off Sailor Moon.
That's awesome.
And I called her Nina Wilder. And it basically took 7 floppies to make the whole
That's
animation.
cool.
And so I was a bit of an overachiever. What could have happened if I had this at my
If you just
fingertips?
stuck with Nina Wilder, what would have happened?
Next season on the CW, Nina Wilder. This will be in production production in 6 weeks. Let's go.
So personally, I actually got a call for an interview next Tuesday, actually, dealing with a camp that teaches like coding, and so they kind of I'm guessing they're wanting me to teach coding, so I could probably use Swift Playgrounds. I can teach them some pretty cool stuff now, thanks to Apple. And so, yeah, and so Instagram, we are live, and yeah, so for Instagram people, we are talking about the Apple March event. So far, we've gotten a new 9.7-inch iPad that has support with the Apple Pencil, as well as another stylus offered from Logitech. That's going for about $300 for schools and $330 for consumers. And it has pretty good specs, and it has Touch ID, which I know a lot of people want. So yeah.
This is amazing. So why were you comparing it to an e-reader?
This was the original iPad. No one had ever seen an iPad before, and we were talking about
And so, yeah, so we don't see so far anyone on Instagram. So most people are probably sleeping right now, because it is spring break for those of you on YouTube and of course Instagram. And so yeah, so I'm guessing a lot of people are sleeping right now. So, but that's fine because you guys can go and watch it. So for these of you guys that are just coming on YouTube, at least, you know, I'm essentially just leaving the CNET live coverage on and just looking at some of this on Mac Rumors. Okay, so there's a new curriculum. Sorry, there's a new curriculum called Everyone Can Create.
I was at Best Buy that morning, day one, buying my own. I was like, damn it, I gotta buy one. It's one of those things that, and it's rare that you see this, it's a product that is better in...
Okay, so yeah, so this is good. You know, hello. So there's a new curriculum called Everyone Can Create, and this probably ties together all the Swift programming things, a lot of the classroom stuff. So it's pretty cool. Hello, welcome. For those of you guys on Instagram, make sure to go check out my YouTube live stream, because I know Instagram has a time limit. And I'm just pretty much going over some of the Apple March event. So you're just kind of seeing my live reaction to a lot of the stuff. This event was kind of really, really bad, just because of the mere fact that they didn't want to live stream it. So yeah, so I have to listen to these guys ramble on with a bunch of stuff. Create will be focused on 4 areas: music, video, photography, and drawing. That's kind of a bummer, if you will, for the coding side of things, but
So they're pivoting into some other kind of stuff about
The creativity side, you know, the music, the
Yeah.
video, drawing. So that's why I was kind of bringing up the whole touchscreen and the pen. Like,
no, I kind of wonder what they're going to be doing with this video and photography side of things, because we don't really see too much of that in schools. I know a lot of schools, especially mine that has a yearbook, use Macs. I mean, it's only Macs that are used in photography, at least, you know.
Have you spend all this time creating and going with
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, but I find students, I mean, because
Okay, that's pretty cool. The 9.7-inch iPad has stereo speakers, which is an added bonus. I don't even think, I think the one from last year, which they essentially made identical in terms of pricing, the casing, everything's the same except newer internals, such as the A10 Fusion chip. They did not have stereo speakers, so that's an added bonus. And so yeah, so this is really going for more of that, you know, creativity side with the music, video, photography, and drawing. you know, I at least use my computer for I do a bunch of stuff, guys. Keep that in mind. I do music production, and so sometimes I use my Mac speakers to listen to what I'm doing just when I'm on the go, if I don't have headphones or speakers or whatnot to listen back on. Isville, this summer, okay. So I'm of course going to go and look into the actual event. Hey, Chevy, what's up? So I'm just talking about the March event. Hello for those you guys on Instagram. I don't know who you are. I'm just gonna wave to you guys.
Here's what we missed: the shoebox diorama.
So yeah, so I'm just kind of going over the March event from Apple. We got so far.
The solar system, the
Here, I'm gonna mute this. We essentially got a 9.7-inch iPad that is going to be going for $329 for consumers, as well as $300 for schools. And so, yeah, so that's pretty cool. And these iPads will be able to support the Apple Pencil, as well as a new stylus that was introduced from Logitech, which is about $49, so definitely $50 cheaper. And essentially you can do, I'm guessing, a lot of the stuff that an Apple Pencil can do, probably. I'm of course gonna go watch the event because they are putting it on the events app on the Apple TV, so I'm gonna go check that out, the full event. And so there's a new curriculum called Everyone Can Create as well that's previewing today, and it's focusing on music, video, photography, drawing, and yeah, I am one of Tony Valentino, I'm guessing, right? Yes, I am one of his friends. And yeah, so also this 9.7-inch iPad is going to be getting stereo speakers, which we didn't see last year from the same iPad model. So it's pretty cool. Let's see what they're talking about
now.
I'm
sure we'll have the link up for where you can watch that.
And you're right, looks like they are wrapping up. Tim Cook is now back on stage.
Will there be one more thing?
I don't think so. Yeah, everyone in attendance has homework.
Everyone's getting a sack lunch.
Yeah, that's it.
Scratch and sniff apple Snickers?
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Apple a day for everyone.
Yeah. Well, any one more things? We're going to keep an eye on. I'm keeping an eye on all the live stream live vlogs. But
I feel like one more thing would be maybe this might be the wrong venue for something like that.
Well, I guess we're not getting our less expensive MacBook Air.
Right.
Or more education-themed MacBook Air, which is a shame. But
yeah, I can agree with that.
You know, there's still 2 minutes left, so maybe they'll whip it out. But
Scott's analysis in the live chat is that Apple's his big thing was that how Apple is expanding pencil support and betting that it's going to help with creative schoolwork. And that new iPad looks like it's the best one for the price, like we said.
I mean, now that you can get a regular iPad that works with Apple Pencil, there's almost no reason to get an iPad Pro.
They're not going to. Are they going to sell the one that's already 2017 cheaper? Or they're just going to get rid of it.
I think this replaces that.
Yeah,
this is essentially
so
that.
there's not gonna
just
be
adding pencil support.
It's not like there's going to be like
No.
It's crazy. You're right. Scott brought up a good point. The iPad Pro debuted late in 2015.
That's going to be crazy.
Now that Pencil is getting into more iPads and having other iPads support the platform, which is.
I mean, the Pro has bigger screens. Yeah. I think it has more powerful processor graphics. It's got the ability to display more frames. It's got a higher refresh rate screen. Those are really the main differences. And of course, the accessories that Apple makes that work with it are very nice, like the super fancy keyboard and stuff.
What does Scott mean by this? Does new iPad have a smart connector? Not sure.
I don't know.
Might be like a dongle kind of thing.
So that's people have complained that the iPad Pros were frankly not the one. People were still buying the regular iPad. It was tough to make a compelling case to get the iPad Pro, especially because you still couldn't get like full real Photoshop on it or real Illustrator on it.
Like
you had to use the iOS versions, even though is basically throwing the iPad Pro under the bus.
Yeah, they're kind of cannibalizing.
Under the school bus.
Oh, whoa.
That just came to me.
Whoa. You're totally right. Like, now if you're choosing between that 10-inch... 10.5 Pro...
Or the 9.7.
I mean,
If the pencil's the main thing. I mean, higher resolution, definitely cool. Higher refresh rate, definitely cool.
Right.
Is it worth, $600 or more?
Maybe that's what WWDC will hear. I don't know. Usually it's software related, but maybe they'll have like some
I think we're gonna be just kind of wrapping this up because I think the event's done. I think we're gonna be seeing some products from Apple. Mainly the MacBook. Again, there was no AirPower released or the AirPod wireless charging case. Maybe they didn't want to release it or like say it in the event, and probably it's just a store update. So we don't know anything about that yet. So the only thing we got was an iPad and some software. So I can see why they didn't really want to live stream it, because it wasn't too interesting, I guess you could say. So I'm just gonna summarize what Tim Cook said about today's announcement. So we got the new 9.7-inch iPad that pretty much is starting at $329 for consumers and $300 for schools. And this iPad will be getting Apple Pencil support, as well as support from a Logitech crayon pencil, if you will, stylus, whatever. And it's going to be that pencil or crayon or whatever is going to be going for $49 instead of the $100 variant of the Apple Pencil. They also showed off some augmented reality apps for the classroom, which is nice. We saw that one dissecting the frog. And then we got some updates to Pages, Keynote, Numbers, GarageBand, and Clips. Pages, Keynotes, Numbers, mainly the iWork suite, got support with Apple Pencil support, so you can mark up documents, pretty much what Google has with their Pages or their Keynote or Numbers, where you can comment stuff. Now teachers can, go and write specific notes discussing, the papers that students give, or I do not know who this is. Who are you? And so, that's pretty much it. And then they also released some GarageBand stuff with the Everyone Can Create, and that Everyone Can Create curriculum is going to be previewing starting today, and will be focusing on areas such as music, video, photography, and drawing. And going back to the iPad, this is really cool because it's having stereo speaker support, which is nice. We didn't have that last year with the same identical 9.7-inch iPad that started around the same price. So this is big, essentially the main argument with the Chromebooks is that, at least for myself, we use a ton of what do you call it? The Chromebooks, when it comes to like recording projects or doing specific things, you can't really do that with the Chromebook. It doesn't have, and the ones that do have it usually cost around $900 or $600, So Apple definitely wins in terms of what you're getting. You're essentially getting, you can, if you don't want to stay with the Apple suite, which is a bad idea, honestly. It's more entwined with, if you will, with the Apple suite. You can use Google, and you can screen record with Chromebook. Okay. Yeah, true. But iPad, you could do the same thing. You can screen record with iOS. And I got that comment from the Instagram live stream. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much it of all the stuff. I'll be making a video later today of all the things that were discussed. Watch it shortly, as it's going to be coming anytime now. So, yeah, so I'm going to stop the stream, and thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoy more of this, you know, make sure to give a like. Also, comment down below whether your thoughts of the event, and, you know, this, of course, is going to be live on the channel, so you can watch it. You can see the whole event. It's going to be around like 2 hours or so. So that is pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to stop the live stream. Make sure to subscribe and turn on that bell notification if you didn't watch the live stream live. And so, yeah. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Peace.